Hey, what's up guys? So Wolcen just got a new major update that just launched recently, so let's go ahead and check out this new and improved Wolcen, as this was a game I really had high hopes for, but it basically released in a state where a lot of things were incomplete. Some of the skills weren't working. There's a lot of problems with the game, to be honest. But nonetheless, they have made a new major update. Let me go ahead and just bring this up on the screen over here. And they released a major update, and to really sum it up over here, they have really tried to fix the game, as the game had a lot of bugs. You'd fall through the level, you'd run into invisible walls, you couldn't progress sometimes. There's a lot of issues with this game, but underneath it, there was a really cool idea of a game, and I actually backed it up over on Kickstarter when they still had the game titled Umbra. But anyways, they basically have buffed a bunch of the skills, and they have patched the game so it's supposed to be a lot more stable. We're running this on a GTX 2060 Super, so we'll go ahead and hop right in. We'll see if we have any issues with the game. But we'll mess around with some of the new and buffed up skills like Gunslinger's Brand and the Ninja Star, aka Phantom Blades, that we can utilize. But let's go ahead and hop right in, and we'll do a quick little run through of the gameplay here. And if this is your first time seeing Wolcen, because I know a lot of you guys might have followed me for Diablo or Torchlight or whatever action RPG you happen to see me play, basically Wolcen came out and it actually peaked at over 100,000 players. And that's actually pretty big for an action RPG, especially like a completely new one, right?
Give me a second.
I'm just going to do this on a very easy difficulty, as this build is running non-meta stuff. They had this build called Bleeding Edge, and it was this little axe that would spin around. And it was like the most meta thing. If you wanted to play the game, you ran Bleeding Edge. That's what every single person played. Literally, every single person played that. But this skills are so awesome. But basically, the game had a lot of issues, and a lot of people just left the game because they were either burnt out with the game and its bugs. Like, you would literally like even though we're going to do a brief little overview of this and we'll play like 10-15 minutes of it, you would run into issues so often in this game. This is not, oh dude, gosh, I love that skill so much. That's not a bug, by the way. That's actually how that skill works. Oh gosh, there's so many enemies. Let's go ahead and throw that Ninja Star. Target them. There's a lot of cool things in Wolcen. And if this is your first time seeing Wolcen, the game looks absolutely phenomenal. I think that this is still one of the best looking games. But the problem that the game had was that it like just crashed over and over again. So here is our skill tree over here. And how it works is like you put in these points and you have to have it connected to the center. You can actually rotate the tree too. It's actually a really cool concept in theory, but in actual like playtesting, it doesn't really matter too much about the rotation, but it does have a skill tree. There's a lot of cool ideas, but there's a lot of things that you would put points into and nothing would even happen. So this is basically like a greater rift, if you will, in Diablo. I'm gonna go move my cam here so you can see this for a second. But basically what it comes down to is you kill a bunch of enemies, you fill up a bar, and you fight the boss, and that's pretty much it. You would do this basically over and over again, and that was basically the endgame content. And while I want to say that maps are a cool concept for endgame, for action RPGs, I felt like it's kind of been done before, you know? Like, I've seen it enough. I want some new content, you know? I'm really looking forward to seeing if Diablo 4 offers something new, because I really feel like so many action RPGs, their endgame content is just maps, which is what Torchlight 3 is doing, and Diablo 4 is basically doing it too, but anyways, we'll throw in some turrets. And even the skill point system in the skills is kind of cool. If this is your first time checking it out, I'm going to go ahead and briefly mention it. So you'd have these skill points. Well, let's go ahead and not get killed, as we are playing online right now. But how it works is you have a skill, then once you level up the skill, each skill will have to level up individually. You will get these modifier points, and some of these will cost more than others. They'll basically give you maybe larger AoE, more damage. Maybe the projectile will act a little bit differently. Maybe they'll slow an enemy. Maybe they'll have a proc chance to, let's say, bleed or do something to do a damage over time. They're called ailments in this game. Basically, that's kind of how the game works. And then you have this dual mana system. And the reason why I call it dual mana system is because you have some skills that will use willpower, and you have some skills that will use rage. And originally, they didn't have this like in-between thing where like there was nothing, as in like before you could spend a bunch of rage and then you would get willpower and it would just go back and forth, and you could just basically ping pong and infinitely just have ability to do whatever in the game, which was awesome. They kind of nerfed that This was back when it was called Umbra. There was an insane like hammer chain lightning build that was super game breaking that I played a long time ago when it was in like its earlier state, which I actually loved. I like it when games have things that are so broken in OP-ness. But I mean, if it's just a PvE game, for me it's like whatever. That one was really insane though. But Bleeding Edge was basically the only build people played because it was just so powerful. Oh, we can go to the next floor. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and fill up this bar. It's like 50% right now. And we'll see if we have any crashes, because that's really, I think, what held this game back, honestly. Like, the game has a decent layer of depth, and they wanted to basically do seasons like, you know, how in Diablo or Path of Exile we have leagues. They wanted to do it with this game, but they decided to fix the game first, which I think is a great idea. Instead of, some game companies are like, yo, let's go ahead, we need more MTX in order to, you know, fix the game. But, they got this game, I would say, right now it feels pretty good. It definitely feels a lot smoother than I last remembered, but it's been a long time since I played. For me, in terms of, like, if you're seeing this game for the first time, you're like, wow, I really like what I see. I would say the campaign was fun for me. Like, I honestly would say the campaign for the few hours that I don't remember exactly how many hours it was, but I legitimately enjoyed it. But in terms of the end game content, I felt like it was just maps, which, again, might not always, it's not necessarily like a bad thing, but it's just that I got burnt out of it pretty fast. And like, this character's level 52. I have max level, I believe, is still 90. But I had Bleeding Edge. I just played offline because online had a lot more issues. People would... could you imagine this in an action RPG? Your gear randomly disappears. I wish I was joking. I mean, you can look at a lot of earlier Wolcen reviews. That's a huge issue for like an action RPG, just to be like, alright, you just lose your gear. Oh my gosh, this skill is ridiculous though. But like, I still think that skill looks too crazy. Like, it's way too fast, but I kind of like that it's broken, to be honest. But, anyways, I don't mind coming back and revisiting it, because I'm kind of having fun, but, like, there's only so much of doing the same thing, because even though it does have these random level generators, a lot of them in Wolcen felt very similar. Like, they had specific tile sets that would roll. What is this? We got defeat all enemies and receive a reward. Okay, sounds good. But yeah, basically how this ability works, which is one of my favorite skills. You just target them like McCree from Overwatch's ult, and you basically high noon over and over again, and it's awesome. There are more skills that got buffed. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a number change to make things more viable, which, I mean, it's nice for people that wanted to try out new skills. But I think that most people that played Wolcen, because I was looking over at Steam charts to see if there's a huge player boost. I mean, it averaged about 500, but like within like the recent update, it's got about 1,000 players now. So they basically doubled, but from the original number of 127,000, it is definitely, you know, something to take note of if you guys are interested in maybe playing online. I don't think the game is dead where you're not going to be able to find people to play with. But I would say in terms of popularity as a content creator, I'm always, you know, kind of looking at games from a viability standpoint as a content creator. And if this game, you know, reached, you know, 50K, it went back, I would start creating more content on this game, honestly. Because I want to see the newer builds. But right now, I'm kind of just waiting for something new. Specifically that Diablo 4 beta, right? That, we don't even know. Like, I would like to even just try that BlizzCon demo that was available. That would be really awesome, since I don't think they're having BlizzCon this year. It'd be cool if we all just got access to just that beta. Also, one thing cool with this game is it has this like ultimate, like there was a lot of cool concepts. Okay, now we can fight the boss. So let's go ahead and get right on this straight away. As the skill, if you run into something, it can be bad because you basically lose out on all your momentum. Hopefully, you won't get one-shotted. As I remember, sometimes in this game, you would just get absolutely melted. This isn't on, like, a very hard difficulty. But, like, the game visually still looks super impressive. Like, still best-looking action RPG. No doubt about that, I would say. That's not up for debate. Now, how fun the game is, I feel like the game kind of lacked in the loot department for, like, the creativity. Like, even though, like, there is some creativity. Look at the graphics on this game. Like, it is so good. And one thing, I don't know if can I open it in here? The customization was amazing in this game too. Like, check this out. You're able to go ahead and customize each like individual color on the pieces of gear. and like the cost is just gold, so it doesn't really matter. But like this is something that I think the game did exceptionally well. Like basically visuals and the customization on like changing, you can transmog any pieces of your gear too. They did a really good job. Now you can go to next level. I'm just gonna go straight back to town so I can go ahead and talk a little bit about the game, because I think that there was a lot of cool concepts here. The game originally had like this player house system that was completely removed. There's an arena that was completely removed. There were so many things that were cut from the game, and I played the game back when they had those things, and it's so weird that they just cut them when I felt like they were complete, honestly. But maybe they just ran into a lot of issues. But nonetheless, the game does have these, they're called uniques, or there's technically legendaries and uniques, but for the most part, there wasn't really insane modifiers. Like, there are, I think, do I have any in here? Where it is, like, there's like a certain skill, yeah. Or this item lets you use lightning spells, because how it works is your weapons are what allow you to use what skills. However, this one over here in particular does modify it. There's a little bit of theory crafting, but I kind of explored that avenue, and then eventually it was just, let's play Bleeding Edge, and that got nerfed, and a lot of people are upset, and they basically were already pretty much done with the game. There are a little bit of things like things that are similar to like Alks and things in Path of Exile. It basically just removes a magic effect and adds another one, so you have your alterations, but like, or something similar to that, right, in PoE. There's a lot of these things where they basically use inspiration from other action RPGs, which I don't mind. There's the whole gem system, which would give you, let's see, like for example, certain gems in your, this is another cool thing that they had with the game. So you'd have items that would have a socket, but they would roll like, was it offensive or defensive or support, but then they would roll 1, 2, or 3. You could re-roll these at the cost of, I believe, gold, and you could basically try to get what you would want, because maybe you want a very specific, like, offensive, like you want offensive 1 on certain things, or 2, or whatever. Like, there was some really cool ideas with this game, and again, the skill tree, don't be too overwhelmed by it. It's not like Path of Exiles where there's crazy things you can socket in your tree, and it's just a basic tree. But like, there are cool things that modify just more crit. The original build in this game, I don't know if it's still like the most meta thing, but it's basically crit, which is kind of similar to Diablo 3. But there were cool modifiers, like you can go ahead and like throw in this, and I think this resockets some of the things, but like this one I specifically wanted to roll like offensive 1, because that gives you flat damage on your things. Like there's a lot of cool concepts in this game, and you could like basically get any skill on your character. You could just get any skill, and I thought this was cool. There's a lot of cool concepts, honestly, with this game, and I keep on mentioning that they had really cool ideas, and the execution of it wasn't too bad. It's just the game was not stable. So here's how I feel with this new update. Is it worth playing? Right now, this is my personal take on it. You guys that have played it, let me know. But basically what it comes down to is, I think that the game, it felt relatively smooth compared to what it used to be, because technically I didn't really see too much FPS drops.
Where did I leave that book?
And the game it's voice acted. Like, this game was so amazing in its alpha stages, and then when it finally came out, it just had a lot of bugs. Technically in the alpha there's bugs too, but that's to be expected. I think it released too early. They should have just released it as early access, or kept it in early access, fix everything, then release the game, as I did have fun with the campaign. If you guys are new and you're like, hey, I like what I see, I'm kind of interested in purchasing this game, check out the campaign. I'll leave it down below. It's actually really fun, but I think for the endgame content, it feels a little bit dried, especially now when looking at least via Steam charge numbers, it doesn't look like it's holding that many players' retention, at least not that many. So I think some of the older players that wanted to kind of come back in the game and check things out, they're going to be able to min-max in a day, as you can basically respec for gold here, and they're just like respecking, and then they're just getting whatever they want, because they probably had a bunch of like stuff left over. So they're basically respecking, trying out some of the new skills, and like, okay, cool, it does more damage. I want some new content, and they do plan to do seasons for this game, or like leagues in the future, and I'm mostly waiting for that. So here's how I feel about the new major update. It's cool to see that they're buffing things, and they're still actually working on the game to fix the game, but I want new content, and that will be something that we'll have to simply wait for, as they're currently still working on fixing the game and getting it to run smooth, which I think is awesome. Can I transform in town? You also can transform, by the way, and you have these awesome like uber abilities. I don't know if these are keybound to, but
I can't do that right now.
But there is cool things with this game, and there's multiple ultimates too. Like, I just want this game to be successful. I just want some new action RPGs. I'm gonna be honest. I've been playing a lot of new games recently, because I'm just kind of waiting for stuff. But hopefully, again, Diablo 4 beta will be coming out very soon. At least just that BlizzCon demo that they had. Even if it's just that by the end of the year, I'd be really ecstatic about it. But I'm curious to know when this game finally launches. I believe that they're doing it in like Q4 is when they're going to finally launch the seasons. But if you've played Wolcen in the past and, you just hopped on with this update, let me know how you guys feel about it. Are you guys excited about it? And are you guys actually playing it? Or are you just like... For me, like I said, I hopped on. I felt like I already played enough, and I just recorded like just a small little video here. But we'll have to wait and see what they do with this game in the future, as I do have high hopes for it. One thing that I can definitely suggest is some new skills to really get players excited about and hopping right back into the game. Also, more interesting legendary or unique items to really modify how we play the game. Like, for example, you would use your health instead of willpower, or some things that are crazy modifiers. It'd be really cool to see them go kind of a Path of Exile route with some of these really awesome, unique items versus just stat number changes on buffing and stuff. Because I feel like that it's not as exciting. There's not that thrill of getting that item. But anyways, we'll wait and see what Wolcen has in the future. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the short little video that we had going over the new update and how the game kind of feels. Because that's the most important thing. The buffs, they're nice, but the game feels nice. And at least in the short 15 minutes that we played, I didn't fall through the map once. And I know you guys might be laughing, but like, honestly, every like 5 minutes, you'd fall through the map. You couldn't get to the next area. There'd be an invisible wall. This game had so many issues. And at least from my experience in this part of our gameplay, it seemed like it was smooth. But anyways, I will definitely cover more of this game in the future when they do, add new content. So if you guys are new here and would like to see more Wolcen content, hit subscribe, turn on that bell, and you'll see more as soon as it comes out. Until then, I'm just going to be uploading kind of what I've been uploading, which is kind of whatever piques my interest. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Let me know your thoughts on Wolcen's update down below. And if you guys haven't seen Wolcen, check out the full playthrough. It is quite an interesting campaign. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one, and I'm out. Peace.